Hey beauties, it's Jamie Jo
and Jessie Massoud,
and welcome to Skinfluence,
a podcast dedicated to beauty, fashion and self-love,
turning your weakness into your uniqueness. Before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge the custodians of the land on which we record, the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation.
In today's episode, we are debunking curly girl myths. There is so much misinformation out there surrounding curly hair and curly hair care, and we are so sick of it.
So let's put some of these myths to bed and give you all the correct information for your curly hair.
Let's go.
I love talking about curly hair.
Yeah, me too, Jane. I didn't know that, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've only done it for the last 7 years.
I know.
Okay, guys, there are so many curly myths, and honestly, they really frustrate me because it just makes curly hair seem so complicated, and it doesn't need to be that complicated.
I know, it's just hair.
So the first myth and the biggest myth for curly hair is that you have to be using the curly girl method, and this is not true. This is false, and we have to debunk this. The curly girl method is basically something that was formulated quite a while ago, I'd say in the 2010s, to help women and people with curly hair learn how to use their curls or learn how to do their hair effectively. But it is just a little bit dated, and it's not one size fits all. So the curly girl method has a whole bunch of do's and don'ts. Jessie, let's hop into them. Let's read them out.
So here are a couple of the don'ts, and it's don't wash your hair too much, don't use any shampoos that contain sulfates or silicones, don't brush or comb your hair as this pulls out the hair's natural curl pattern. So instead you're going to run your fingers through your hair to brush it out. And then some of the do's are to co-wash, to use Curly Girl approved products, and to use moisturizers that have like aloe vera and flaxseed in it.
Okay, so in terms of the curly girl approved products, this would look like a range coming out with no alcohol, no silicones, no sulfates, and usually it doesn't have any shampoo in the range.
Yeah, it's like the no poo shampoo.
Yes, so the no poo method kind of came out of this curly girl method, and they are both things that we just must stop doing as curly girls.
Yeah, because what's marketed as something for curly hair may actually be detrimental to your curls, which is a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah, I think that this method, the curly girl movement method, is really great for coily and kinky hair. But let's talk about why it is a myth and why we shouldn't be doing it if we don't have kinky or coily hair. So, number one, using no shampoo for curls is the biggest myth ever. This is not going to make your curls any better at all. It's actually going to make them so much worse.
I know, it leads to product buildup, it leads to hair loss, it leads to a dirty and flaky and itchy scalp, which is like affecting the environment that your scalp has and therefore your curls.
Exactly. If your hair is not growing, if you've noticed a significant change in your curl pattern, it probably is because you've cut out shampoo. So when you're listening to and following, influencers and people who are promoting the curly girl movement method, what this routine would look like is first you would use a co-wash product. So this is kind of a blend between a conditioner and a shampoo, but it doesn't have any of the so-called stripping properties that a regular shampoo would have. So it's supposed to be better for your curls because it is more hydrating and it doesn't kind of strip the natural oils. Instead, what is it doing?
Yeah, like I said before, it's actually like causing a lot of product buildup, and then your hair can't reach its full potential, your curls can't form because it's so dirty, essentially.
It's so limp. It has so much product buildup.
It's lifeless.
Yeah, it really affects, product buildup for curly hair really affects the overall look and health of your hair, and it's really not spoken about enough. The curly girl method promotes using really thick and heavy products all the time, and alongside that, it promotes not cleansing your hair properly. So how do those two things marry if you've got finer textured
Yeah. What about the
curls?
girls with low to medium density curls? Like, that's not going to work for you. It's just not. It's going to make your curls, die, basically.
Instead of using a curly girl approved range that, doesn't have a good shampoo, we really suggest using a good shampoo. So this is a really great range that me and Jessie have been using ever since we transitioned from wearing our hair straight and straightened to wearing our natural curls.
And this product line that we recommend is from CPR. It's their Curly Solution Quad Pack, and it's only $78.95 from Oz Hair and Beauty, but this is for a whole pack. You've got shampoo, conditioner, and does it also come with...
It's got a treatment, and it also has a styling product.
Which is just incredible. You compare that to a foundation you buy.
Exactly.
It's $70, but you can buy a whole hair range for curls, which is another myth that we just busted, because it's people say that it's expensive to care for your curls and that's why it's easier to straighten your hair. And that's just not true.
It's not true at all. I think that it seems like curly hair is not accessible, like products for curly hair are not accessible, but that's really changed in the last few years, which is an amazing thing to see. So that's a big myth, and if you're using that as an excuse to not wear your hair curly, yeah, you are caught out.
Also underneath this, what like picks my brain the most is the fact that they say no detangling with a brush, like use your fingers.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, but like, yeah, maybe you can brush straight hair with your fingers, but no curly hair can be brushed with your finger.
It's such an obscene thing to even think about. My hair gets so knotty and gets a lot of micro knots, especially because of the length, because of, obviously textured hair catches onto each other.
Yeah.
So the thought of not using a correct brush to comb through your hair just sounds insane, because your fingers are going to pull so much of your hair out and they're not even going to get all the knots out.
Exactly. So a brush that me and Jamie use in the shower that we highly recommend is the Ugly Swan Wet Scream Free Hairbrush, and this is $35. Honestly, this has reduced the amount of hair fallout I've had in the shower, but it really does help to get rid of the knots, and it reduces the amount of time I'm detangling my hair for.
The brush that you use is actually super important, especially for detangling, and this brush is a little bit flexible, so it kind of works with your hair better than being a very stiff,
rigid
traditional hairbrush that, we always see the hairbrush snapping with curly hair. I've actually had that happen before.
Same.
So this is a really great brush for that. If you have kinky or coily hair, I highly suggest just an afro comb. They are super cheap. You can get them from any dollar store, and this is going to be great for detangling and picking out dreads or coils that you want to get rid of. One range which we've spoken about heaps, which we absolutely love, and it's so affordable, is the Tresemme Curl Shampoo and Conditioner. And they've also got the little serum oil as well. You can get each product for around $15 to $30 depending on the sale. So you could literally get a shampoo and a conditioner both for $30. That is very affordable.
Yeah.
So stop using that as an excuse. It doesn't have to be expensive to manage curls.
I actually would vouch the opposite. I think it's more expensive if you go down the route of straightening your hair, because where does that lead you? You straighten your hair, you kill your curls, and then you're like, oh no, my hair's dead. I need to get a cut. I need to
get a treatment.
I need to pay for a less damaging straightener. Let me buy the Dyson $450 later, or however much stuff.
It's more than that.
Oh, how much is it?
I'm pretty sure it's like $600.
$600 later, and you're telling me that it's more expensive to care for your curls? Girl, stop lying to yourself.
It's true. You just need to spend a little bit of time, getting rid of that heat damage. But there is so much. I love that there is like a lot more affordable ranges, and they are great. And the thing is, with going back to the curly girl movement before, these brands are kind of ripping you when they tagline, when they stick on curly girl movement approved. It's kind of like, it's like how brands greenwash. They're now like brainwashing curly girls. You don't need to be spending that much money for products that aren't as effective with your hair.
Which brings us to another myth. And this myth is that you can only use products that are curly girl branded.
Yes, that are specifically, marketed
for curly girls.
Yeah.
But it's not even that they're made. They're just marketed for curly girls.
That's true.
And that's false, because I know for me that in my own routine, I've got two products that aren't specifically designed for curly hair, but just work so incredibly well for me. And that's my shampoo, and that's the mousse I'm using. So that just proves that you don't just need to be going for even just a curly mousse or a no-poo shampoo. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, I think that finding products that work for you can be super versatile and doesn't have to slot into, these specific categories. One of my absolute favorite products of all time is not marketed for curly hair at all. It's just marketed for all hair types, and it is literally an award-winning product by Natalie Ann. It's a Prep and Play hair cream. It is more on the pricey side. It's $52, but it's so versatile.
Yeah.
As in, I'll use this for a slick hairstyle. I'll use this if I'm blow-drying my hair straight. I'll use this if I'm refreshing my curls. It's just so versatile.
Love a versatile product.
Exactly. And that's really good to invest in, rather than, one specific curl product that is damaging your hair just because it says it's sulfate-free. I want to talk a little bit more about kind of the no shampoo, though.
Yeah.
I think with products that are marketed to be sulfate free, sometimes sulfates is actually good for your hair, especially if you are a curly girl, because we need to be getting rid of all that product buildup. And that is why I recommended the CPR Curly Solutions Quad Pack. These aren't necessarily products that have, they have silicones and they have sulfates, but they work so well to care for your curly hair. So it just shows that you can have a whole bunch of different products and different ranges that don't fit into the curly girl method that work well for curls. This is what we suggest to so many people if they're starting their curly hair journey, because it is affordable, but it just creates incredible results. And this is something we always keep in our hair regime.
Yeah, it's always like that go-to stable product that if your hair's going through the works, go back to the CPR, like create that baseline and then like work your way back up from there.
Yeah.
I think a funny myth is that all curly hair is thick.
I think it's such a silly myth. People always say to me, "Oh my gosh, you have really thick hair," and then they'll see me wearing like a slick back, bun, a clean girl bun, and they're like, "How do you get all your hair in that bun?" It's not that thick.
Yeah, I've actually got really thin hair.
Yeah, we both have like finer density curls, and that again goes to show that you don't need to be using thick pomades, thick gels, thick creams, because that is not effective for all
curl
hair types.
Yeah.
It's really funny to see brands like slapping this curly girl method onto products just catered for one type of curls. There are so many different types of curls. So
try again, brands, try again.
Another myth that we both find hilarious is that the big chop is going to be your saving grace and that's going to fix your curls. It's not.
I've done it. I've been there. It didn't work.
We both did it at the same time.
Yeah, right before Italy, and that was tragic.
Traumatic.
Our tagline was ugly in Italy.
Because our hair was so limp. So what we both decided to do was, at that time, we were both struggling with curl texture. Our hair wasn't bouncing up as much. Our curls were not as tight and coily as they used to be. So we thought, everyone always talks about the big chop being the solution. We thought that if we cut our hair, it would bring that bounce back to it. It didn't.
No bounce. There was no bounce. It was just sad, limp hair.
Yeah.
Just shorter now.
Yeah.
One thing that we do when our hair is when our hair is starting to feel and look a little bit limp is we'll use a protein treatment for our hair in the shower, and that oftentimes does sort of help the curls bring back life into them.
Oh, it definitely does. So if you are thinking that the big chop is the solution, and say you have healthy hair, your hair is healthy, it's not going to do anything at all. It's not going to bring back your curl pattern. All it's going to do is just, change the shape of your hair. Now, when we do suggest to do the big chop is if you have heat damaged hair and say the end of your hair is dead straight and scraggly.
Because you got keratin treatment, like that needs to go.
Exactly. You need to chop those bits off. Say you've got curls growing out of your scalp and then from like your chin down, it's straight. Okay, obviously chop them off. Chop them off. But besides that, it's really not necessary. Okay, one more. I have another myth.
Okay.
That you need to frequently be trimming your curls so that it grows more.
Yeah, that one upsets me because I fed into that for way too long.
Guys, your hair grows from the top of your head, not from the bottom.
Yeah, if your hair is healthy and your regime is good for your hair, you should be, the hair density from the top of the strand to the bottom of the strand shouldn't change too much between your cuts.
Yeah.
And therefore, you don't have to have as many cuts.
You don't need one every 3 months. That's absolutely ridiculous. If you're trying to grow out your curls, what you do need to do is do one every 6 months and trim off the the dead ends, or maybe it's a little bit lighter in color. The reason that people suggest doing cuts 3 months is that if you do have dead ends, it's going to split the hair and then it's going to create breakage and make your hair look thinner. Obviously, we want to get rid of that, but if you have healthy hair and a good hair routine, you don't need to be trimming it every 3 months. You're just getting rid of length. You're just, stopping that overall look of long curls. So 6 months for a trim is all you need.
And I think ways to stop your hair from getting the breakage and getting the split ends is the styles that you're doing. When you're slicking your hair back, you're going to get breakage and then you're going to need to cut your hair more often.
That's so true.
If you're using a claw clip, it causes a lot of tension in the same spot constantly. Swap it out for a hairpin. You have to try and do protective styles that aren't going to affect your curls and cause the breakage, which makes you have to get a cut.
That's so true. Wearing your hair out is always going to be the best possible way to wear your curls. Even though it can be a little bit exhausting always wearing it out, it is much better, as Jessie said, than, wearing tension hairstyles. My hairstylist, I literally got a trim yesterday, guys, and we cut the littlest bit off, just as I said before, just any light colored dry spots. She said that in the back of my hair, she can tell that there's a little bit more breakage and a little bit more, less health overall. But that's because, obviously, this is where I wear my hair most often. If it's up. So you can try and, like, if you do have to wear your hair up, you can try and just put it in different spots each day. Maybe do a high ponytail, then a mid, then a low, just to, like, even it out a little bit, especially if you work and you have to put your hair up.
For me, the best thing has been, like, these pins.
Yes, French pin.
Because I'm not doing, like, it's not causing tension anywhere. It's like my own hair is holding itself up and then the pin just, like, helps it stay in place.
Because it's not laying flat against your scalp.
Yeah.
So
it's great.
It just, like, is a healthy way. We've spoken about them before, but they're so affordable. We got a pack of like 20 off Amazon for $9. $9 for really cute hairpins, and they look really pretty.
They look like little mermaid princess things.
Yeah, I love them.
Not that you can see them.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Skinfluence.
If you are interested in any of the products mentioned in today's episode, there are links available in the episode description on your podcast app.
If you love what you hear, leave us a rating and a review.
And if you have a question or want us to cover anything on the pod, reach out via our socials. Mine is at Jessie Massoud.
And mine's at Jamie Joe. Or send us an email at skinfluence@novapodcast.com.au.
Bye, guys.
Bye.